Welcome to In Hindsight episode 6. In this episode I want to discuss late game objective trades around Baron. Last week, one of the craziest and most unpredictable series took place when Evos and Cerberus met in round 1 of the losers bracket. The first 3 games all went to 35 plus minutes and featured a ton of back and forths, Baron throws, and interesting decisions even the famous Dignitas vs Renegade game would be proud of. More often than not, the team that looked like the clear winners actually ended up losing the game. Let's dive into some of the late game decisions that were made by the teams. This clip starts at a passage of play that was discussed vehemently in and out of game and ultimately decided game 3 of the series. As you can see, Evos holds a marginal gold lead, but a huge map advantage, having destroyed the mid lane inhibitor just minutes ago. Their composition is filled with very strong independent champions that excel in one-on-one situations or small skirmishes. 𝘀cie is already pushing our top lane, while 𝘀cie has just entered bot lane to start a very strong 1-3-1 push setup, as the 3 core in this situation is additionally backed up by super minions storming down mid lane, which makes it even harder for the enemy team to collapse or brute force a push. Cerberus is in a tight spot, with multiple lanes getting pressured, while both Baron and the final Ocean Dragon for them are up for grabs. Pushing in mid lane against super minions will buy them some time to rotate into other positions until the inevitable pressure from the strongest of minions will force them to recall and put themselves in a numbers disadvantage. As soon as Evos spots Cerberus trying to force a play in mid lane and thus extending very deep into their territory, 𝘬𝘂 makes the call to TP top lane in order to assist Zeros, threaten the inhibitor and maybe even Nexus turrets much faster. Here is where this situation gets fascinating. Evos holds all the trumps in their hands. They have constant mid pressure, just evaded the last ditch engage from Cerberus and are very close to killing the turret and inhibitor in top lane. The mid lane core could try to chase Cerberus off the dragon and or stop recalls to buy more time for the solo laners to potentially even end the game. Instead, Evos decides to start Baron. Cerberus on the other side could have tried to contest the purple worm, as they knew about Zeros's and 𝘬𝘂's position. This would leave the risk of the base falling, as 𝑙𝑙 alone is not very well equipped to deal with the 2 solo laners. Cerberus decide to just take the Ocean Soul and defend what is left of their base. In the whole play, Cerberus acquired the strongest 5v5 buff besides Elder Dragon in the game, but lost another inhibitor, Baron, and are now staring down a 5k gold deficit. Now, what does this mean for the game? Ocean Soul is the classic 𝘀elle you can't unring. It is never going away. On the other side, taking another inhibitor and the Baron buff gives Evos a window of power that should enable them to close the game, thus making the difference of active time of the acquired buffs irrelevant. To speak in different League of Legends terms, the Baron buff and inhibitor for Evos is like buying an elixir, while the Ocean Soul is a solid amp tome bought by Cerberus. Now, let's dissect which of the 2 comes out on top. Evos group in bot lane and take the bot inhibitor with no problem. At this point, the base of Cerberus is in shambles, and 3 waves of super minions are going to occupy them for the next few minutes, giving Evos free reign over the whole map and every objective on it. Evos naturally want to use the Baron buff to its fullest potential and get ready to close out the series 3-0 with one final fight in Cerberus' base, right now. 𝑙𝑙 knows that he has to make the miracle happen and jumps on top of Divkid's Aphelios. Unfortunately for the crocodile, 200 years of lifesteal are ready and Aphelios easily survives the onslaught, killing 𝘬𝑂𝗹𝗶𝗏 in the process. Evos seem to have put the final nail in the coffin with this kill, but in a matter of seconds the whole game falls apart. Divkid dives too far forward, spamming emotes filled with the hubris of a successful glass cannon pilot. Renekton remembers his combo in the nick of time to burst down Aphelios. At the same time, Zeros dies to the last remaining turret on the mat while chasing for a kill. With both ADCs down, Cerberus is able to save their Nexus. 2 minutes later, while the elixir is worn off, the amp tone still is just as effective. That being said, Evos is once again able to storm into Cerberus' base and raise every single inhibitor. From this position, with an open Nexus and no minions to defend it, the game is almost impossible to win. Evos could just back off here, wait for Baron and Elder to spawn, and to make the victory 100% sure with the strongest buffs in the game. Instead, Evos smell blood in the water and dive in. The following fight is not even particularly close, as level 18 Rise with Ocean Soul makes quick work of Evos. Crucially, this decisive victory gives Cerberus enough time to push out waves and let their inhibitors respawn, just in time to take Elder and Baron. With the 3 strongest buffs in the game and a more than decent teamfighting composition, Cerberus rout Evos after catching Xerus back to back and destroy the enemy team's base in one go. In hindsight, the soul ultimately proved to be more valuable in this game. Contrary to what the name of this video series might suggest, I would nonetheless argue that Evos took the correct trade and set themselves up to win the game in the next fight. 2 thoughtless positioning mistakes, driven by the acceleration from the already palpable victory from 𝗬𝘂𝗹𝗶𝗹𝗀 and Xerus, caused the amp tone to outshine the elixir. Keep your eyes out for more astonishing late game objective trades and on-the-fly adaptations from Evos and the VCS in general this week and next week in the playoffs. Thank you for watching In Hindsight episode 6 and get excited for the deciding matches of VCS Summer 2020.